Dude, it's honestly so fun. Like whenever we scrim and like teams do roll swaps and stuff and like send random players bot lane, and it's like I know for sure they have no idea what they're doing. They think like, oh, I know how to play Yasuo, or like I know how to play Vlad, and then they try to lane against a bot lane that knows how to play bot lane, and you know it doesn't matter. Like it just they don't know what to do.
It's the third week of NALCS, and I'm joined right now by Doublelift with coverage presented by Omni Slash to talk about his match against Echo Fox. So take me through that game, because what was your final score? 11-0-9?
Yeah, I ended with a pretty nice score, 20 KDA. It was like a stomp from level 1. Like Phoenix got autofilled bot, and he didn't know where to position at level 1, so then he got caught, and then all he had to do was flash the recon W. He didn't do it. He tried to juke it, like, why? And then he died. Everything possible that could have went wrong for their bot lane went wrong, and they also played extremely bad around that. So they had a gold funneling strategy, and looks like I was the one who got funneled.
How long have you been waiting? Was that in the Reddit thread that you were just reading?
No, actually, I had a scrim. We had a scrim where we were doing gold funneling, and I really ran it down. And then afterwards, I messaged the enemy team, and I was like, we were still gold funneling, just the wrong way.
Yeah. So I've turned the funnel.
Yeah,
You just said it the other way. Yeah.
Wrong direction.
Yeah. So when did you guys know that game was done?
Level 1, when Yasuo died and blew Flash. Yeah, that was really bad. It's really, really bad if you blow Flash as a melee champion bot lane at level 1, because then like you spend the rest of the game guessing whether or not you're getting ganked. Usually the answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine whenever they don't have Flash, it's a pretty good target.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying these non-AD carry players showing up in your bot lane?
Dude, it's honestly so fun. Like whenever we scrim and like teams do roll swaps and stuff and like send random players bot lane, and it's like I know for sure they have no idea what they're doing. They think like, oh, I know how to play Yasuo, or like I know how to play Vlad, and then they try to lane against a bot lane that knows how to play bot lane, and you know it doesn't matter. Like it just they don't know what to do.
So let's say this meta stays this way, or you can continue to send non-ADs bot. When you come to Worlds and you actually face off against teams that will know how to do interesting stuff in the bot lane without an AD, is that going to be an issue for you? Because you won't have, like, it sounds to me like you think you're playing against people that don't actually know how to play that role.
I'd say like it's way easier to learn a champion than it is to learn how to play a role. So that's like a general rule, but it's not 100% true. I think there's some players that might be able to roll swap pretty seamlessly. It seems like Huni was pretty good when he roll swapped, but I didn't watch too close. The problem is, like, at the beginning, there was a huge difference between a player who, like, knew how to play Mage's bottom, or, like, knew how to play Yasuo and Aurelia bottom. And there was such a huge difference between an AD carry doing that and, like, your top laner, your mid laner, your jungler doing that, that the difference in skill on those champions kind of, like, overcame or, like, surpassed the difference of, like, knowledge about how to play that role. So I think as like you play more and more of the champions that you're supposed to within your role, like for me, like learning all of the different champions bot lane that are viable now, the difference between like me and Pobelter and Impact on those champions is like a lot less, but there's still a huge gap in knowledge for them playing bot lane. So I think like for our team, it's definitely better most of the time for just like me to man up and learn those champions than to like just be like, Eugene, you're going bot and I'm going mid. Yeah. You know, like teams are doing that, and I think it works for some teams, but for us, like I think it's makes more sense that way.
Well, speaking of that, what did you think of Cloud9 sending Golden Glue to the bot lane?
Yeah, that's a great example. That's an absolutely amazing example. Could Sneaky have just played Brand, and the difference in kind of like bot lane knowledge would be greater than like the difference in Brand skill individually? And all the Sneaky fans are going to probably jack me off after this, but I think, you know, Sneaky could have played Brand. You know, he could have played bot lane that game, and it would have been just as good, maybe better. Golden Glue playing bot lane is kind of like Fnatic sending their sub-top laner Bwipo to play bot lane with Hylissang instead of Reckless. I feel like some AD carries just get really demoralized because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And there are games where I'm really running it down. I'm like going 10 deaths in scrims.
Yeah, well, we saw that when you played Vlad.
Yeah, no, fuck you. But I'm learning really fast, and I think having the right mindset is really important. Like, to see it as a challenge and not just like this huge obstacle. Like, oh man, I just can't wait until I can get past this, or they patch this, or they fix it, or they they like revert the changes. But like that's probably not gonna happen. That's not in your control. So just adapt. That's it.
But we don't really. You just keep playing marksman though.
Well, yeah, but I've been really, really practicing hard on all of the viable champions bot lane. So, like first week or maybe it was second week. I think it was first week. We lost to Golden Guardians. And
with Vlad.
Yeah, with Vlad. And, I was playing pretty bad that game. And afterwards, I came back and, like, we could have given up. But instead, I just kind of, like, doubled down on how hard I was practicing on those champs. And I feel a lot better now. I'm pretty much ready to play them on stage.
Okay. So at any given point in time, you can pull this out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pobelter told me that we should expect to see some crazy stuff this weekend at LCS in my interview from last week, but I don't feel like we've super seen that. Echovox tried to, but then it just crumbled.
Yeah, crazy stuff either looks genius or god-awful, depending on execution. They had a really ambitious strategy, and their players just were terrible that game, like really, really bad. Altec was gold funneled, and he was probably poorer than our Irelia mid, who's just farming one lane. So, yeah, definitely execution is the king right now.
Yeah. What are you? Your stance, I think, has changed. You've been a very vocal conversationalist when it comes to this patch and this meta. Your stance seems to frequently change. I see quotes where you say, like, yeah, this dog shit meta. And then I see quotes where you're like, this is the greatest thing ever, and everybody needs to learn it and shut up. So where are you today?
Where am I today? I wish I didn't make it sound like I hated the bot meta in, like, that one snippet of the ESPN interview, because that's where I think people think that I flip-flopped. And I definitely phrased that super badly. I think, like, my stance has always been that I enjoy, like, diversity bot. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really fun. It would definitely be nice to me if more AD carries were viable than just, like, kind of like 3 or 4 or 5 AD carries. I wish it was 10 AD carries that were viable and mages, and there was, like, and then like a pool of 30 champions that you could see bot lane, and that would be exciting, and you would see a lot more, like, kind of interesting, crazy matchups. But the thing I don't like, and, like, that was my critique of bot lane, I guess, but it's still good. I still like bot lane right now. The thing I really don't like is gold funneling, because I think it will get to this point where viewers are literally just going to turn off the stream when they see gold funneling, because it's so boring. It's kind of like way back in the day, there was 2v1, there was lane swaps, and, like, the best strategy to win the game was to do 4v0 lane swaps. Top laners were level 1 at like 7 minutes. You send 4 people at level 1 or level 2 to go, like, lane swap and, like, do a base race where you're trading tier 2 towers. Sometimes you take an inhib tower at like 6 minutes or 7 minutes. And, like, the game was just so telegraphed and so uninteractive for like the early game, and people hated that. But think of gold funneling as that same strategy, but for 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes of kind of like this duo running around and interacting with the enemy team as little as possible. That's their goal. That's their mission. So I think, like, that is not good for the game. It's not fun. I think the most important thing is, like, when you like lose sight of, like, what a game is, it's supposed to be fun. It's not fun to play with. It's not fun to play against. So I was really vocal about that part. I really didn't enjoy seeing Faker playing Taric because he thought that was the best way to win. That's a shame. Like, he's not having fun. The viewers aren't having fun. And that's what it's all about. So, like, bot lane could make some changes. I saw Tyler Wan was he was pretty emotional. That shit was hilarious.
It's usually pretty emotional.
Yeah. And I agree, like, maybe there could be some tweaks, more AD carries. But overall, I like it.
Well, I stole this time, and your manager's, I think, ready for you to go. So, is there anything you want to say to anybody out there?
Yo, just thanks for supporting us. I really, I love reading the comments. Like, people have fun watching our games because they think we're hella good. I think we're all right. We're whatever. We have a lot to work on. So just, like, thank you guys for supporting us and keeping us motivated, and peace out.
Very good. Thank you so much for the interview, Doublelift. Congratulations on the win. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. I have some unfortunate news for you guys. Things are getting much more financially tough for me. OmniSlash, of course, does everything they can. They support me. It's amazing. But I think you guys might have heard that last split, it was about 20 grand for a Doublelift interview. We're now at 35. I don't know how it went up so much in such a short time, but I'm now spending literally $35,000 every time I interview Peter. And by the way, he charges another $1,000 for every time that he ends up in my social. So if you guys want to help me out, that'd be super cool. Just subscribe to the channel, like the videos. There's other links in the description. You can check those out. Thanks so much to OmniSlash for the support.